Hi, how are you all doing today? I hope you've had a wonderful day so far. So, I spent my day today thinking about how the grave is full of the most gifted people, and how some of them, hi Sheikh Du and PF, and how a lot of those people never got to play their music. And I started to think to myself, I remembered, I think it must have started from me thinking about my grandmother. And then I thought about my sister, who was in her 30s when she passed. And I started to ask myself, did she play her music before she died? And something sprung in my heart. And a question came to me, and the question was, what would I like to do before I die? And I thought to myself, if you extend this now to the bigger world, some people will never ever get to play their music. Why? Because they're afraid of living, they're afraid of failure, they're afraid of success, they're afraid of what people will say, they're afraid of being of family, what they call that thing now, history and occurrence, because my father failed, his grandfather failed, his great-grandfather failed, and so I will fail as well. They're afraid of what people have said in church to them, that they will not be able to do things, or they should play small just because. And I started to think about it, that what if I started a movement? That movement is just a sentence: before I die, what would I like to do? And I want to ask you that question today. What song would you play before you die? Whose life would you touch before you die? How big would you play before you die? How would you love? Who would you love? How would you kiss? How would you hug? Who would be your friends? Who will you call? How will you call them? How would you get back home and hug your children? If today was your last day, what would you do differently? If you knew today was your last day, what would you do differently? What inhibitions would you throw away and just say, you know what, I'm going to dance under the rain tonight before I die. I'm going to write that book before I die. I'm going to travel around the world before I die. I'm going to love like never before I die. It's not going to be my church versus another church. Redeem is not going to be better than Catholic, because we're all one big spirit in different bodies. What would you do differently before you die? Would you want to be part of the grave, or part of the skills in the grave that nobody can tap into? How would you feel on your last day when you lie down and you have maybe family around you? Maybe you're alone because you didn't focus on building your family as you were alive or as you were growing. And so you're lying down on your deathbed by yourself and you're asking yourself, what could I have done differently? And either regretting or being very grateful. Which one would it be for you? I definitely, with all my heart, want to play every song that I have within me. I want to love like never before with no inhibitions, not worried about whether somebody's going to hurt me or any of those things, because I know that at least I would have loved. What about you today? And it really has been, I think it's something that has been on my heart all day. How would you smile differently? No. Would you walk into places and just smile at people? Would you give them a hug? Would you, love like never before? I remember I had a friend who one day said to me, all these friends that you have, what do they want? I said, I don't understand. He said, what if they want something more than friendship from you? So that's not up to me, that's up to them. For me, I want to create memories. And so if I go out for lunch with them or go out to do different things with the different friends that I have, and they assume that maybe something is going to happen, when we get to that bridge, we'll cross it, because they'll ask me and I'll say no with a smile on my face. But that I'm going to worry about what other people are thinking, what other people are doing, how other people are faring in terms of what they're scheming to do to me? Heck no. Because I know all things always work together for me. So if people do things, hey baby, if people do things, then they're either revealing themselves, like my friend will say, or in fact, I think that's what it is, or they're just showing who they are as people. So what are you going to do differently before you die? Are you going to open that bar? Are you going to open that restaurant? Are you going to show up on social media and start to inspire people? Are you going to share your story? Are you going to do it unapologetically? Are you going to live your life with no apologies? What are you going to do differently? What are you going to do differently before you die? It's almost like creating your legacy today, but saying that I'm going to live out my legacy. What are you going to do differently? There was a time when I used to think that if I didn't have the numbers, then really there's no point speaking. Until I told myself one day, or maybe it wasn't me telling myself, maybe it was the voice of God telling me that what if I was only sent to one person? Would I have delivered utmost service to that one person? Or would I be waiting for numbers, and because they didn't come, I didn't play my song? So what has happened to you in your life that you have grown from, that you can help one person out of, that you are afraid and ashamed to speak? Can you start to say today? Can you help that one person today? Maybe you have been through a divorce. Maybe it was a gruesome and terrible divorce. But at the end of the day, you've come out and you're stronger. Your children are doing well if you have children. And maybe you can help one other person out of that dilemma. What would you do differently? I don't know. I don't know what case yours is. I don't know. But that's the message that is on my heart today. What would you do before you die? What would you do? How would you play? How would you play? How would you show up in the world? How would you, I thought about it today, and everybody that crossed my mind, I called. And anybody that walked past me, I hugged. Because I'm just like, imagine if I didn't do all these things. And so I know that Nigeria is going through its own, but it will find its way around. But what about you? Everybody's looking to the government for change. What about you? Are you ready to change yourself today, before you die? What are you going to do differently? How are you going to smile differently? How are you going to care differently? Who are you going to call today? Who are you going to forgive? What are you going to let go of? Who are you going to allow into your life? Who are you going to release from your life? Who are you going to help? Who are you going to care for? Who are you going to cry to? Who are you going to hug? What story are you going to share? What book, what song are you going to play? Think about it today and write it. Maybe write it as, in your book. And start with, before I die. Then your next sentence can be, wouldn't it be great if? And then dream from there. Give yourself permission to dream. Give yourself permission today to play big. Give yourself permission to do everything, to use all the gifts that God has given to you today before you die. Love and light. Have a wonderful day.